Alright guys, this is going to be a very nerdy video of me looking at part numbers, but you can get a lot of good information from doing this kind of research. So, the 2025 Can-Am Outlander XMR part numbers were just released. Some people had them earlier, people with dealer connections and stuff like that. They're now publicly available on a couple websites. Can-Am Parts House has them, and that's what I'm using for this video. So I'm going to go through every single one of these part numbers and compare what's different between the XMR 850 and the XMR 1000. This is going to be the once and for all, shut everybody up. Here's what actually changed between those two models. I've been saying they're mechanically identical except for the tune and the clutching, and now we're going to see how close I am. Clutch weight specifically is what I've been saying, and that's actually correct. So if we look in Excel, I've got all the part numbers from each of those models posted in here. This is XMR 850, this is XMR 1000. Little formula right here checks to see if the two columns match. Very simple. So if we scroll down, we can see that it's almost all the same, and then we get drive pulley assemblies, different part number. Okay, well, duh, something's different in there, but what's different about the drive pulley? We can see that it's just the weights. The roller lever assemblies are different. Everything else is true. So between the XMR 850 and the XMR 1000, there is only one meaningful change in the clutching, the weights. So obviously I'm going to order those weights. I actually ordered them a week ago. Yeah, and then I'm going to be clutched properly. The XMR 850 is purposely clutched poorly to not rev out all the way. That's one of the ways that they're limiting it to make it worse than the 1000 because they're really the same machine. So I'm going to do this for every single tab on these web pages, and we're going to get you guys some really good data. It's going to be a long video. Bear with me. Probably not going to be all that many changes. From here on out, I'm just going to focus on what's different. And if you want to see how many different ones I'm going to do, we can look at this right here. If it loads, this will show you all the different tabs I have to make for all the different components. Eventually, I will do the same thing for the XMR 700, comparing it to the XMR 850, but that's going to be in a separate video. Alright, I've been going for a while through these different tabs, and I finally found another difference. So the left hand front light marker, they're different part numbers, and they're different cost. So you can see that the XMR 1000 is $80, whereas the XMR 850 is $11. Just get those little lights on the front. Nothing to be too excited about, but yeah, if you have the 1000, you have an $80 light thing instead of over here where you have a little plastic thing that's much cheaper. This is like the frame that holds the adjusters for your headlights. Alright, at long last, I found another difference. The exhausts are different part numbers. It's a $700 muffler, and it is different part numbers. This is 619, this is 620 on the 1000. So does it sound different? Maybe. Is it higher flow on the 1000 to go with the 1000 tune? Maybe. The rest of the exhaust system is identical, and the intake system is identical. So, I don't know. Probably not worth $700, but something to keep in mind. That is another difference. This is the first one I found that I did not know of, so very exciting. So this is really interesting. The ECM modules, the computers, which we know have different tunes on them, have the same part number. So maybe you have to order the computer and then have the software loaded on it by Can-Am? I don't know. Maybe it's a typo, but I definitely got it pulled up right. XMR 1000 and XMR 850 computers have the same part number. Very interesting. Expected that to be different, and it's not. So, yeah, just pointing that out. All right, still chugging along, processing all this data for you guys. This is the transmission, so it's got some gear teeth stuff in here. And if you go through all of this, you'll notice that the 850 and the 1000 have the exact same transmission and gearing. Not a surprise, but just something I wanted to verify. You know, the good old trust but verify. And of course, for all the non-believers, here's all the part numbers for the camshafts and all that stuff. And the timing gears and everything in the valve train. And of course, it's true all the way down because they didn't change anything in the cylinder head or with the valve train between the 850 and the 1000. So the only differences that affect performance are the ECU, the clutch weights, and the muffler. Womp, womp, womp. Alright, so I was hoping I'd have more to talk about in this video, but I only was able to uncover one change I wasn't previously aware of, which is the muffler. I went through every single one of these tabs and compared part numbers side by side in Excel, and they're all the same. I mean, all of it. The valve train, the cylinder heads, the crankcase, Even the engine harness and electronic module, the computer's the same part number, the pistons are the same part number, the intake manifold, throttle body is the same part number. The vast majority of the clutching is the same except for the weights. These are pretty much the exact same machine, except for the tune, the little headlights on the front, some stuff with the handlebars, right? You got different handlebars, a mud strap, whatever, and the muffler, and that's it. I mean, they really didn't change much between these two. As far as performance is concerned, the only differences are the clutch weights, the tune, the software, the computer itself's the same, and the muffler. So a couple different tuning companies are saying they can make the same horsepower between the 850 and the 1000. They're not changing the muffler, so maybe that's not an important change, but it is a different part number.